Hello everyone, it is Christine here and happy Thrifty Thursday. I have a haul video to share with you today of some goodies from the Sewing Lair online op shop here in Australia, as well as some other goodies I've picked up at op shops. I'll see how much time I have because I do want to leave some time at the end to do some slow stitching with you on a stitchery swap square for the Home Sweet Home stitchery swap that is being hosted by Annie Claxton. So if you'd like to hang around for some relaxing slow stitching, definitely do, and I hope you enjoy seeing what I have found. So the Sewing Lair is based in Queensland in Australia, but it has an online op shop essentially where twice a week they do sort of launches of items that they have. Lots of wonderful secondhand. Sometimes they're secondhand but they look virtually new. They've sent me a sweet little pouch with this particular delivery. It's got a sweet little, I think that's a sticker, and two little charms that say made with love. So that's very sweet. I'll put that up with my little collection behind. So if you do happen to be in Queensland, there's Beanley Event Centre. So that's where one of the Sewing Lair places is based. And it looks like they're having a session all stitched up, 8th of November 2025. And then a lovely little postcard, so many pretty treasures, happy stitching. And so yeah, they have volunteers, they do great work in the community, and the whole idea of reclaim, reduce, reuse and repurpose is right up my alley. So yep, thesewinglair.com.au if you're in Australia. I don't think they ship overseas, so probably mainly for the Australian folks. So I'll keep that info just in there. Again, I'll pop that behind me. So I've laid some of the things out on the table, so you've got a few things to look at as we go through. This was a little patchy, I think it's an iron-on patch. Yeah, it looks like one of those sort of iron-on ones, but I thought it was really beautiful, and it's a tilde one. And then there are a couple more patches in the same little release. A little bird, a little chicken, and another chicken, which should be lovely for little Easter projects, and little geese. And I do have a bird project idea in mind as well, so it could be great for that. They had some interesting laces actually, so I snaffled up a few of them. This is probably, this is probably a synthetic, but I thought it'd be nice for the pieces I'm doing where I'm surrounding vintage images with lace pieces. So I thought that would be great for that. They then had some larger meterage, so 14 meters. It's a nice thick, it's a cotton lace, but it's nice wide cotton lace. I think I might have some of this already, but yeah, their prices are really good, so I couldn't go past. And I particularly love this one. This is, I think, an older cotton lace, and it's really, really beautiful. And I think I only had a small quantity of this previously in my collection, so I'm going to enjoy having that and using that. Just make sure I'm in focus. Then there were some packs which had a variety of things in them. Some of them I could tell definitely from the picture were newer laces, like this sort of apricot lace, so less excited about that one. But then I could tell within the packs there were some older pieces of lace like this one here. Now I'll take the little label off, but I'll give you a nice little, let's maybe come into focus up here and give you a nice little look at that. So yeah, that's a really beautiful one, and I don't have anything in my collection like that, but I love these ones where it's got the sort of the netting base, but then it's got the stitching into it. And I can definitely smell it's got that sort of aged smell to it. I might give some of these a freshen up because some of them look very old, like this one. This would have been one of the ones that particularly attracted my eye when I was looking at the little packs online. I'll take the wrapping off. And yeah, you can see just how age stained that actually is. It's definitely got a good bit of age in that. I just have to get it to focus if I'm going to bring it that close up. Can we? Maybe I'll just have to keep it down here. Go back into focus down there. So yeah, that's a little treasure, and this next one is very old as well. 1.1 meters. So again, this has got a lot of age in it. You can even just tell from the coloration on it. Look at the sort of, the staining. But it'll be interesting because often when I give these a gentle soak, the colours come out. But sometimes I actually like it better with the sort of the patination of age as well. And then this one was in a pack by itself, but I thought, what a beautiful, I guess you'd have it up this way, wouldn't you, with the sort of the flowers growing up. But I thought that was a really beautiful, beautiful lace. Let's give that one a smell. See, that one doesn't have as much of a sort of an aged smell to it, but there's a really decent quantity of that there. And then these were probably some of the newer laces that were in the packs as well, but still quite pretty, I think. You could definitely kind of overlay that on something and then do some stitching around it, use it sort of as a base to stitch over as well. So lots of possibilities. And when I have extra bits like that, it's always nice to pop something like that as a little gift to a friend if you're sending them something. And then there's some more. These ones all came in a pack together. And again, these are older laces, very fine, very delicate. Just try and show them to you. So as you can see, just so delicate, the work on those. So that's one of them. This one's even finer, if you can imagine that. Oops. Let's put the little labels in my little bin next to me. I don't need to throw those on the bench. So I hope you're having a beautiful day. So yeah, beautiful little polka dot little design within the lace, but super fine. And then another very nice amount of this one. Again, just very delicate, really lovely. Just give you a, should have put some moisturiser on my hands. I might do that actually. My hands are looking a bit dry. It's been a funny old day here in Melbourne today. It has been got up, I think it was meant to get up to about 30, but then it's turned sort of, stormy. So that's a very good quantity of that one. And then I think this is the same one again. Possibly, yep, no, same one again. And then this looks like a different one. This would be quite old as well, I think. Possibly has even been retrieved off something, maybe. Some of these might have been on clothing or something. Again, some more tiny little delicate ones, but I'm glad someone saved them. I'm glad out of the donation bag someone saw the value in them. Oh, isn't that lovely with the little flower design on it? Beautiful. And then this one here, I'll see if I can slide it off, might be better. Can't believe someone's meticulously measured it all. I probably would have bought it just as a jumble up bag of laces, because I can pick the older laces pretty well these days. I was going to say the elderly laces, but that's not a thing, is it? And then that's similar to the other little one, a little bit wider. And then another similar design. So these might have come out of someone's little lace box or something, I imagine, all the little saved bits and pieces. Again, that's a very good quantity of that one. And this one I think is pretty similar also. Here's that little, I think this is similar to that other lovely flower one we were looking at, but it's got some more little holes in it. It's a lovely design. Look at there. And a different one here. Definitely got age in that one. Again, that sort of aged smell. Not unpleasant, just you can tell that slight mustiness that comes with age. Another beautiful one. And then we had some others. This one looked quite interesting. I didn't think I had anything similar in my collection. And I do love to have little bits of lace, and I thought that could just make a really lovely sort of edging on a pouch or a container. even just taking little individual parts of it, again for my project where I'm surrounding sort of pictures with lace, could be wonderful for that. And some more lace, because I had a big lace release, and I just looked for the ones that looked interesting and different to what I have. So again, these little individual items can be, sort of used like a little motif. They'd be great for even some of my underwater rock pool pieces. Got this one, which I thought looked really beautiful. I think it's probably a newer one. But again, how absolutely delicate is that? Even the other side is actually really, even the back side's really lovely. Looks almost like it's piped or sort of iced. So that's gorgeous, and a really beautiful quantity of that. Don't have anything like that in my collection. This is like a broderie anglais. Probably was on something because it looks like there's little stitching marks along here, possibly maybe on a bedspread or something. It's a newer sort of machine done one, but I think that's lovely and could be dyed up as well. And then there were some gimps or some braids. So these are always very useful to have to use on projects. So there was that one. This one's a bit different, even though it looks very similar. It's a slightly different colour. It's almost more goldy coloured, but you might not be able to see that on camera. And again, someone's very dutifully measured it all out. I think those two are the same. And then a beautiful red one. And a beautiful gold, nice finer gold one. And great for using on things like Christmas decorations, which we're going to have to start thinking about soon. So they were the braids. I'll try and get them a bit more in focus close up. And then another braidy / lacy bit. Again, I think this is pretty old. Could have a bit of synthetic in it though, I think. But again, very sweet, and you can even just use individual ones. And then I always collect, even though I don't do much knitting, I love the different novelty gauges. So this is a beehive gauge, and I love bee sort of related things. So I might even incorporate this in some sort of project. I am planning a vintage haberdashery, or I've got my own little vintage haberdashery display, but I'm sure I'll do some projects sort of featuring those pieces. So that's why I got that one. I got some beads. So I think these all came together in a pack. And I thought for Christmas, or for some of my underwater or nature's textures pieces, or even just making dangly hanging bits, my niece Emily Rose, who I spent time with in Western Australia and who has a love of slow stitching now, she loves beads, so I'll definitely put aside a pack of these for her and a pack of the red ones. So I'll put those to the side for her. And I'll send her, I think I'll divvy up this blue pack into two and we can share it. Another lace. This one's probably a newer sort of one, but I thought it's lovely because it's got the ribbon threaded through it. Plus it's got the lovely flower details down both sides. And a decent quantity of that. And then there was a bag of these premium embroidery thread by the brand Edmar. You might remember a while ago I got some of these threads in an amazing set of plastic sort of rolls, and they're really luminous. I've used some of them in my Fleur Woods stitchery pieces, and so yeah, I thought they'd be great to get, and they come on this little hoopy thing. So they're made in the USA and they're rayon viscose, which is why they have that real gleaming sort of shine. But I'll give you a closer look at those. And they're in really nice, vibrant colours. I might keep some of those out actually for doing my stitchery swap squares. I'll just clip them up next to me, and that way they'll be in my visual site to use. And then this fabric, because the Sewing Lair, as well as having all those laces and things, they also have lots of fabrics. This one reminded me of some of the feed sack fabrics, or the replica feed sack fabrics. It's got a little selvage on it, which tells us it's Marcus Brothers Textiles Inc. But I thought that was a really sweet little design, and I've got quite a collection of the vintage inspired feed sack fabrics. And then they had some threads from Gutermann, which I do like the Gutermann threads. They're quite strong and good for stitching with, and these were just in a lovely set of autumn colours. I think I tried to get some of the other ones, but I wasn't quite quick enough on the uptake for that, because when they have really good things, sometimes they go so very fast, because yeah, they're good prices, and it would be mad to miss it. I don't know where this came from, but it just popped up somewhere. And it's a Semco little design, but I think that little daisy is really, pansy is really lovely. So I'll keep that for my vintagey goodies. And then there was this fabric, which is on the surface underneath. I'll just try and get into focus on it, which I think is a silk. It was shown on the side as a silk. I wasn't sure when I was buying it if it would turn out to be a silk. But there's a really nice quantity of it, and I thought this could make some beautiful backgrounds for some more sort of Fleur Woods inspired stitching. And actually, looking at the next bit of fabric I'm going to show you, it really goes rather nicely with it, which is some Japanese fabric samples. So let's just unroll them. So Kona Bay Fabrics Shibori Collection, 100% cotton. And I don't know if this came as a gift. I don't actually remember buying it, but my goodies from the Sewing Lair had actually been there. Some of them had been there since July, and I'd forgotten that I had a package that was waiting to send. And the owner of the place, of the Sewing Lair, contacted me saying, "Oh, are you sure you don't want us to send your package?" So I quickly got on and got that organised, but I can't believe I'd had something sitting there since July. All paid for. Aren't they beautiful? Lovely, lovely. See, that could just be a lovely piece of stitching in and of itself. Ah, from Hawaii. Wow. And so this is delivery. Oh, so this sample was 2006. So we're almost 20 years on from when this sample was there. So someone's obviously had this in their collection for a long time, and I'm going to make sure I do something with it. And then from an op shop in not in Mornington, in Inverloch, a few weekends ago when we were down there, I popped in, and I can never resist a little orphan crochet project, although in this case they were both finished, but I love when they've still got their little threads on them. There was also this piece of this little one in here, a Semco, and I don't think this is what's been stitched on this one, but I do love these these vintage Semco designs. I'll keep that with my other one. And I particularly got this because I really like some of these more I'm really looking for some that are quite coffee, almost golden coloured. I have a roll that I particularly love that I'm running out of, but this colour I thought would be quite great too. But yeah, two sweet little stitched doilies, and as I say, I love them when they've still got their string on them. So I might keep that together, because I might well use both the thread and the doilies in a project or something. And then there was a bag of rickracs for $1, which I thought was pretty good, because they were some of them still on their original little cards. Just make sure I'm staying focused in. So that's, yeah, I love the vintage rickracs. They're much nicer than the new modern ones, and these are really nice, fine little ones. And then this one, Towns Rickrack Braid Cotton, made in Czechoslovakia. So back when things were made with love and care. And yeah, again, because I love my vintage haberdashery, I love the things when they're on their little original rolls. As I mentioned, the fabric. How are we going for time? I might show you Another thing I just got at a local op shop, I was actually going to get bread, but I happened to park in the park outside the op shop, so I thought I'd better go on in. And I found this, I think it's probably a sari, but it had the most gorgeous stitching on it. It's machine stitching, but it also had these really sweet little daisies. So I thought this could definitely be used either in components, or I have been sort of toying with whether I could overlay it over something and make a piece of clothing of some sort. Jury's still out, but I do love the colour of it. It's again that sort of I'm going to call it the Fleur Woods green. It is absolutely gorgeous, and it's got these further patterns down the middle, and then it's got more at the other end. I think the fabric, I mean, it could be, I think it's more of an organza. This could be a silk, but then at the ends it's got a different fabric where that stitching has been done. Feels like a softer fabric here than the fabric at the very ends. But yeah, definitely lots of goodness to come out of this, because each of these sort of little clusters can definitely be used. So that was that. And then I might, because I've got time, let me just move that box out of the way. This was another bag of goodies I got from a lady. I think her name's Lorraine. I know my friend Kristy has had various goodies. And so, yeah, she was sort of selling whole displays of slow stitch things that she had made and treasures that she had. And so I got this one that's in bluey tones, I think, and it's all come in this bag. I haven't really properly even looked through it. So let me just put the bag down next to you and we'll take a bit of a look-see look through it. So it includes these beautiful quilted pieces, probably of things like pillowcases, but wonderful. I do love working with the quilted pieces. This looks like quite an old one here. Just make sure we're in focus. Again, a lovely toile and another lovely piece of that older one. I'll put that strippy fabric into my strips of fabric bag. A very, very lacy decorated coat hanger. That's a bit of fun, isn't it? Oh, it's actually got lace that's been either, has it been knitted into the knitting, or has it been added after this has been knitted? I don't quite know. I'm just going to click in to make sure we're staying in focus. And it does look quite old because it's got a bit of wear under there, so I think this is a bit of a vintage coat hanger. And then could have even had this, and I can still use it in my upcoming coloured doily projects. But isn't that beautiful? Beautiful blue, almost like a duck egg blue. Put that in the wash. Oh, this one is so sweet. I love these little ones with the little raised flowers on them. That is incredibly sweet. And we have a little pillow. So these were things that Lorraine was making, I think, using vintage bits and pieces. And so that's a great idea, just the way you can make a little pin cushion. And again, I can always hang that up or hang that off my stand. I think that's incredibly sweet. And then there was some wool, pure wool. I'll definitely be able to make use of that. That looks like a nice 8-ply. Can definitely use that for stitching with. So I'll put that over with my wools. There was a ribbon that I'll put over with my ribbons. There was a pouch. Now, isn't this lovely? It's got a fabric that looks like it's a patchwork fabric, but it's actually just a print. I do love those ones. But that's a very nicely made pouch, brand new. And it's got a beautiful little dingle dangle on it. Might even have to send that when I send my goodies to Emily Rose. I think she would love that. But I think this is just begging to have some slow stitching detailing adding to it. So I might do some slow stitch detail adding myself, and then maybe that's something Emily Rose can do as well. Because I think something like this would be quite easy to just sort of, in my case, I can stitch into the surface, but even Emily Rose could still be stitching through it. I've shown her how to do the stitches where you just sort of work on the surface. So that might come up in an upcoming video. So many ideas, so little time. A sweet little address book. We don't tend to keep these days, do we? Because everyone has their sort of phone numbers and things in their mobiles. But again, this could be repurposed into a little journal or something like that. Oh, there's the little cord. I was wondering if I was going to find that it was one that's been used, but no, it's a brand new one. I'm not sure whether Lorraine has put any of the sort of special details on it. It's almost got a fabricy feeling there. So think about something to do with that. And then there was a bag of treasures. Love a bag of treasures. Oh, look, a measuring tape. I've got a container of those. That's a sort of a plasticized one, so not a fabricy one. There are some of these which will be great to use in my texture pieces. There's a little Suffolk puff. I have quite a lot of Suffolk puffs, vintage Suffolk puffs. A lovely little, this could be used as actually something to pop on a pouch or something. You could even cover this little button. Some lovely thread. I'll definitely use that, so I'll keep that out with my threads. A little cluster. Some bias binding. Lots of lovely buttons. Will we take a look? Have I got a little bowl or something to put them in? I'm just looking around. If my containers have things in it. What have I got down here? Yes, I do. Got this little container. Let's pop them in there. And you can just have a little look through some beautiful big buttons, some lovely metal buttons, some interesting little beads. Again, great for my fibre and textile work. Some sweet little beads. So yeah, that will be fun to use. Some elastic, some interesting laces on little pegs. Some more lace. Some hexies, which are always fun to incorporate into your pieces. Oh, isn't that sweet? That looks like it's been wrapped up for quite a while, and it looks like quite an old card with some beautiful, beautiful buttons on it. Some more Suffolk puffs, some blue threads, some more blue threads. That one's got a lovely sheen to it. Actually, both of those. Put those with my threads, and some broderie anglais and some ribbon. I might actually, just to keep these a bit more contained, I'll just pop these back into their little plucky bag. Because I'll have to sort them into their respective spots in my craft room. It's the trick of just keeping everything curated. And then some other goodies out of there. Have some, isn't that beautiful, little teacup and little milk jug and teapot. Love the blues on that as well. And is that the touch? Nope. Some Ada, lovely Ada cloth. That's a double weight. Lovely hexie, grandma's flower. Isn't this one beautiful? Beautiful, beautiful linen. And a whole tablecloth by the looks of it, with again lovely blue flowers on it. I've been contemplating some ideas for sort of clothing and other things out of this. Is it pure cotton? Yep, all cotton, made in China. And then so vintage borrow pin cushion. I don't know if this is an instruction for how to make one. Lorraine's design, so looks like that was one of her patterns. So I did get the name right at least. Just pop those behind me. And then a sweet little, I think this is like a little book or something. Yeah, a little sort of journal, very vintage design. Love when people put a zip. I've actually got a lot of zips, so this is a great idea for just adding a little fun fiddle piece. In fact, Emily Rose might love something like this as well, because she made a little fiddly thing for herself with some of the beads I had with me that I got from my lovely friend Kristy. Sweet little notebook. Again, just a really fun idea, isn't it? To just make something simple and have that really lovely slow stitchy, scrappy vibes to it. Another great idea, a little sewn up envelope using vintage patterns. The card sort of that comes with the patterns, and again just a little tag that you can write on the back, but with vintage design. So that's a lot of fun. And then a little matty thing again. This could even be turned into a little envelope, couldn't it? Might do that. That could be really sweet to make a little envelope out of that. A little trifold. Well, actually 3 folds in and another fold to make that. And then on the outside, it's got these beautifully embroidered pieces, all brought together, and beautiful buttons. So that's very sweet, and that definitely, I think, would be up Emily Rose's alley. And then some lovely fabrics, quite a fine fabric. And then this one's a square. Isn't that sweet? And isn't it funny, because just as I was going through my fabrics looking for some other things, I came upon this fabric that I have. And how, and I was thinking, oh, I've got a few ideas for a project for this, but this is also giving me, yeah, quite a set of ideas as well. And it's interesting because it looks like, I wonder if this was actually a little printed piece, because it's definitely got a pattern there. That's not fabric. I don't think that's fabric that has been appliqued on. I don't think so. I think that was part of the design of the piece. But it's a really sweet little idea. It's always great seeing what other people have done. It gives you so many ideas. Some ribbon and some blue checked fabric, and then there's also some of this braid or trim. Getting to the bottom of the bag, and then we'll get on to some stitching together. So yeah, that's the bag. It's got a pocket, and it's got a lovely toile design on the back of it. Everything out of that. So there's some more ribbon with a beautiful flower design on it, some lace, a beautiful vintage cloth. I can't believe that someone would have paid $30 for it originally. I hope Lorraine didn't pay for that. 1960s mat. I certainly wouldn't pay $30 for that, but it's a lovely little piece. I've got other ones like that in my collection. And then a little collection of little scraps of fabric, which, as we know, that's all you need sometimes. Let's just get them out, and I'll put them in with my other little curated scraps. But they feel like really beautiful little ones, and again, they kind of remind me of those feed sack fabrics. Just try and make sure I'm in focus. Yeah, aren't they beautiful? A real little collection of little snippety treasures. So I might have to turn these into a little Lorraine inspired pouch. So I might keep these all together. Can put a little clip on them or something, because I think it's nice when you get a little collection from someone to do something with it. I need to do one with one of my little collections from Gladdy and Flo from Gail. As I say, all the ideas, just not always the time. We've had a few other busy things that we've been doing in life at the moment. All good things though, and work's been busy, so I'm not probably getting to do quite as many videos as I normally do. But that's fine. I think we're all in that busy time of year anyway, so it's good if I'm not stretching you too much, putting up too many videos all the time. But hopefully you enjoy the ones that you watch. Always try and bring you some good cheer, some good vibes, some relaxing time together. Yeah, I do love little scraps. Like, I'm often as happy with a little pile of scraps as I am with just a big piece of fabric. I think I'd always take the little scrappy pile first. So I'll pop that behind me. So that's those goodies. So now let's head on over and do some work on our slow stitch square. And I might bring you down a smidgen closer. So last time around, we were assembling the background, and since then I have stuck down I've finished turning under using my Yoo-hoo glue the little camper van and caravan and stuck that down, and then I've been needle turn appliquing. Well, really not turning it because I've already done that with the glue, but stitching down the edges of it. So we'll definitely do some of that, and then I want to show you how I've created these little clouds up the top. And also how I've done the stitching into the sea with just some blue thread, some white thread, and then some orangey thread to kind of bring that sense of the sun coming down on the water. I think it's coming together really well. So I might start off, I'll show you how I have been doing the sort of the appliquing it on. I'll try and find in my bag of goodies that I had on the plane, which are all the threads that I've been using. I have thrown a few more subsequently into it, but it's sometimes good just to work with a limited selection because it just makes you be that extra little bit more creative. So I'll get a bit of the blue thread off. Actually, I might use that whole bit of blue thread because there's not that much left on. And I only need one strand of it for the appliquing. So I'll just separate a strand out. Sometimes it not, sometimes it doesn't. I've got a needle here ready to go. And we can do what we need to do. Oh, and I also did some little green sort of grasses, so we can add a few more of those as well because I thought they'd give that sort of effect of a sand dune. So I've finished stitching around up here, but I thought I could show you on the bottom here how I'm doing the sort of needle turn applique. So I'm going to pop through, and then what I'm going to do is just be catching the sort of little edgy pieces and then going back down through. Now there are quite a few layers here, so you might be like me and just sort of hit a little bit of challenge in pulling it through, and also don't do like I do and catch the knot as you go through. So yeah, I'm just going to sort of pop up next to where the edge is, and then put a little stitch over. I might even see if I've got a slightly sharper needle. This one just doesn't feel like it's really doing its best. Let me have a look in my little needle collection. Might grab out one from here. Because it's just one strand, I should be able to thread a slightly finer needle, which might be better. Put that back in my needle, my pin cushion. And so yeah, I'm just going to pop through and just put a little stitch over where I've got that little border piece, and I'm using a matching thread, so that will just help it to all sort of blend in. Definitely easier with this needle. Let me just make sure we're staying in focus. So yeah, using the glue definitely makes the needle turn and applique much easier, particularly on a bit of an intricate shape like this. And for any of the difficult bits up here, I even just sort of I did actually do a bit more needle turn appliquing where it was just needing to kind of be pushed under as I stitched it down. But on these sort of more straight edges, you don't need to really worry as much, and you can catch just a little bit of your fabric just to sort of be anchoring that down, but mostly you're just anchoring your little edge pieces down. And because you're just using a fine piece of thread, it's not really adding too much more extra sort of depth to it, but I guess it just adds a bit of extra little stitch detail. It's almost like probably having a whipped stitch in some ways. And so this will just mean, your raw edges will be underneath your stitched piece, and so that way they won't fray or anything. Obviously I've got raw edges around here, but it's just fun to play with different techniques, really. So yeah, I've done up there, so I won't make you watch too much so yeah, you can see I've gone around and done the needle turn appliquing. I think I still need to do it on the bottom of my caravan over here. And in fact, I actually did that with a little, did I do that? No, I did that still with the yellow because I'd already whipped, that's right, I'd already whipped my stitch there with the blue. So I then just went in with yellow in between where the other sections were, which I can show you just if you have already done sort of some whipping and you want to know how to kind of get it to mesh in. Have I got some yellow thread to work with? I think I do. It's all sort of all in a pile of threads, but that's okay. Let's see if we can extract it out. It's all a little bit tangled. I'm sure we all do that, don't we? We end up with a bit of a tangle of threads, particularly if you're commuting around on a plane and just tossing the goodies into your bag when you're finished stitching. And then we always go on to another project, don't we? And it's kind of like you end up with these little tangles of threads. I really do need to get better between projects at sort of, getting everything put away and everything tidied up, not just getting excited and launching into the next new thing. But that's why these little swap squares are good. They're sort of a nice size where you get enough stitching, but it doesn't sort of become an overwhelming project. So down here where I'd already done the whipping in the blue, what I've done when I've stitching it down is I've just sort of put my stitches over where the blue isn't so that I wouldn't be overlapping those. So I've just sort of jumped along and put stitches in where the blue wasn't. So it's, Thursday here. I can't believe it's Friday again. It is kind of crazy how quickly the weeks are going. Racing towards Christmas. So I've started pondering some Christmas ideas already for stitching projects. Got many things I want to do, but I think we will have to get the Christmas box out soon because I do have a lot of Christmas fabrics, a lot of goodies. And it is lovely to be able to make something special for friends or family or for your house that that you've made your own Christmas decoration. I love every year putting the Christmas decorations that I've made over the years on the tree. It's pretty special. I've even got some that I made for my Nana and Grandpa that I've since sort of received back after their passing, and it's really special to put their decorations on the tree as well. And I have the decorations I made for Travis the first year we got him and subsequent years, so that's a little trip down memory lane too. And I've got some of the decorations I made, I think the first year I met Alex as well. Then at that stage I was making some of the little sort of homemade polymer clay decorations. I can't remember if I've shared a video of making those with you before. I know most of you are here probably for the stitching, but all the thrifty finds possibly. But they're a fun project, and you can even make things like little buttons, etc., out of the clay. It's not a real clay, it's made with corn flour and bicarb of soda, so it's quite an amazing concoction. And the fact that it comes together like a cohesive clay. So that's that bit done. I think I also hadn't done the stitching, so I did some stitching around the sun with the orange thread, and as I mentioned I then stitched down just with like little cantha stitches, both with a blue in the sea, some white to give the sense of white caps. So I wanted to kind of keep the bay a bit calmer but then have some white caps further out and have the setting sun coming down like that. So I might show you that next, and then I'll show you, actually I'll do the cloud first because that will just take a little bit more time. I also want to put my little birdie on as well. So for the cloud, I will just grab some white thread, just a regular sort of sewing cotton, and I've just cut out a little piece of lace. It was just off a longer piece of lace, just a polyester lace, nothing special or vintage. And then I'm just making a very rough form of a Suffolk puff. So it's sort of an ovally shape, round shape, whatever shape you want to make it. And I didn't want all my clouds to be exactly the same shape either. So, and I'm going to just start off by anchoring myself. I'll just put a stitch and a stitch. And then we're just going to take the needle in and out, in and out, in and out all around. Like this. In and out, in and out, in and out. All around. Yep. So just keep going all the way around till you get back to where you started with your thread. And then you want to just pull it together like you would a Suffolk puff. So that's kind of your Suffolk puff sort of shape, although it's a raw, sort of a raw edge Suffolk puff because this end's going to be going underneath anyway. And then you can just tie that off, but keep your thread on it because we'll then use that to sew it onto the piece. So I've got a loop, but that's okay. We'll just stitch the loop in. Doesn't have to be the end of the world when your thread loops itself. It's just going to look more like cloud if any of it's sticking out. So it's now making a little puffy shape. Now I don't want to have these too regular either. So where am I going to put this one? Might just put that, oh no, that's going to be quite regular, isn't it? So maybe I'll put it a little bit higher up. Just give it, or I could even put it a bit closer over here. Maybe I'll do that because I just don't want it to look like it is all symmetrical, because the sky never is it? And then we're just going to use the needle just to kind of gather it a bit more so it ends up a little bit more puffy as you stitch it down, like that. Yep. Oops. There we go. And just keep stitching it. I was wondering if we were going to get a thunderstorm tonight because they did say it might be coming, and I was thinking poor Travis, he always wants a cuddle from me if there's a thunderstorm, so I might have had to stop the video if that was the case, but hopefully he's just resting away on the couch downstairs with Alex resting away as well. Definitely cozy in my craft room tonight because it has been a warm day and I do get the beautiful afternoon sun over here. It's just a nice temperature. So yeah, I like that. I like that if that's a bit more sort of, yeah, clustered together. I might even end up putting another one there before I finish, but I won't do that with you because that's not exciting to show you the same thing again. But I'll show you also how I have used some little orts, so some leftover threads, to make some clouds down at the horizon. It's fun to find ways to sort of use things in different ways. So I've just got some white threads with a tiny bit of black in it, which I'll take out because we don't need the bluey blacky bits. So I keep just a jar of, as I get sort of orts, leftover threads, whether I'm tearing apart fabric or something, or if I'm have some leftover threads from stitching, I keep them all together because you never know when you can use something like this. So again, I'll just put a knot in the end of my thread. And I like that this almost has that sort of misty sea spray look that you get at the top of, yeah, sort of the horizon, where it sort of softens the horizon. I'll just bring my needle through. It will just take a moment to kind of get these things starting to stitch down, but don't worry if they're a bit unruly to start. Again, because I'm using the white thread, it doesn't really matter where I lay down my stitches. I just want to start to sort of anchor these down a bit. Just sort of hold them in place a bit with your fingers while you stitch. I keep pressing the focus button to hopefully keep my camera in focus. Always apologies if it happens to go out of focus. We do our best when we're making videos. It can be hard when we're stitching sort of at arm's length. We're keeping an eye on our piece. So do bear with those of us that share videos. We don't purposely go out of focus. And I'm just filming on a very quite an old iPhone actually, so it's not even new or modern tech. I'm not really into keeping up with the modern all the new iPhones and things. It just doesn't make sense to me to spend that sort of money on something that's going to become outdated anyway. Because Apple, for all their good, their devices are kind of made to be redundant. They stop updating the systems and things for them. So eventually it's like they make you have to go and get the newer devices, but I'll resist that for as long as I can. This was actually a hand-me-down phone from Alex, because I just needed one for filming on that had enough storage that I could get my videos done and uploaded. And so I just use this for my filming really and uploading. Doesn't even have a SIM card in it. I just use the Wi-Fi at home for that. I know some people do love all the new tech, and I guess we all have our own things. I'd much rather some old vintage haberdashery, some old vintage goodies that I can enjoy and repurpose, and just some scraps like this that can turn into something that is actually a delight to stitch and create. So yeah, there was one video before this where I was working on it. I'll link to that one as well in case you missed it. Just hopefully it gives you ideas of how you can repurpose items that you have. So that's the cloudage, and then I'll show you some of the stitching while I've got the white thread with me anyway. Some of the stitching I did on the sea. I can't remember if I used this thread or some of my other no, I think this is actually an embroidery floss, but does it? Maybe I'll use this because I've got the thread, and it might be interesting just to see how the different whites work. And I guess if you've got waves, you've got some that might be big and some that might be smaller. So I might add some more in here. But basically I'm just doing little sort of seed stitches, little cantha type stitches. Again, let me focus in and see if I can be in a place where you can see it. And again, you can just sort of work on the surface, angle your needle across as you do it. And I think the randomness works absolutely fine. You don't have to particularly focus them in a particular location. So I think it works a-okay-o. Sorry, I just went quiet, didn't I, as I was relaxing. There's something about that sort of cantha stitching, even if it's this more random cantha stitching, it really relaxes you just doing these little, and I think particularly because these are kind of a more random stitch, I'm not really having to think about even spacing or anything. It is very, very relaxing to do. Angle my needle up here. So yeah, it just adds, so yeah, I think that has actually worked quite well. Maybe I did use a regular, looks like the thread's just a slightly different colour perhaps. And I love how these pieces start to take on their own little sort of abstract image look on the back. And if you start looking at a piece like this on the back, you'll think, oh, what is that? But because it's got the applique pieces, you don't know till you turn it over. So I also in here just use some of this regular, it might even have a little bit of wool in it, but it's just a vintage thread I got from somewhere along the way, and I used that for some of the waves in the bay just to give that more sort of bay-like sense. And I do need to attach my little bird as well. Don't know what colour thread I'm going to use. Maybe I'll just use a white or something. Or maybe I should actually put the little bird, and then we can hide its little sewing on bit. It could just be flying amongst the clouds. Yeah, I think that would be nice actually. And then it's like it's got a little three things there. Maybe I'll put that on now actually, because you've kind of seen how I was doing the sea anyway. And it's not like, the stitching I did with the other colours, and even with the sun, I was really just doing graduating lines down, so you probably don't need to see more of that. But hopefully that just gives you the idea. You can, and it also has just given a really lovely sort of texture to the sea. If you can see that, it's sort of given that lovely wave-like effect. Because originally when I was designing the piece, I was wondering if I'd need to kind of layer this and sort of crease it to give the sense of the sea, but I've just managed to do that with the stitching, which is great. So I'll pop up through here with my white thread, and then we'll just position our little birdie. I had a lovely, as a child, I had a little bracelet with a heart and one of these birds on the little heart, which is a treasured possession. It's so small because it went round my wrist when I was a child. And so I do like these little birds, and they also symbolise my friendship with my dear friends Sally and Kristy, my stitchy friends. And how lucky was I to get to spend time with Kristy in Western Australia. It was just so special. Still enjoying the memories, and looking forward to when we get to stitch together again in the future. I'm sure we will find a time to reconvene. Isn't that sweet up there? I'll just bring this one down a little bit. Just want to kind of hide that little bit where I've sewn the birdie on. But I think that's really sweet to have the bird passing through the clouds. I can always bring a bit more cloudage just down over the little clasp. I'll just stitch it a little bit more up into it. Sometimes you can use your surface to help pull your your needle through. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. So I think that's probably all I need to show you on this square. I will do a bit of finishing off myself before I send this off. I still don't know which of my swappies is going to receive this one, so it will be a surprise. I do have a swappie overseas, and I might need to get that actually off in the mail first, because I know Christmas, I mean, it's not Christmas yet, but Christmas posting is probably upon us. So yeah, that is my little square. That's my little birdie. And with these little grasses, all I've done is used a single strand of just a regular embroidery floss and just done little, you can either do little stitches like a V stitch where you anchor it down at the bottom, or just do little line stitches down of all different sizes. So I'll be adding some more of those on as well. But I'll let you go. I'll get this video up, and happy Thrifty Thursday and happy slow stitching. Take care of everyone. Hope you're having a beautiful day or a beautiful evening. Bye.